Connect with Nikhil Chopra. He is the CEO and whole-time director at JB Pharma, joining in to talk a little bit about the outlook as to what's in store, price hikes, and how the domestic business is shaping up. So good to have you on board, Mr. Chopra. Given that domestic pharma sales have done quite well in Q4, which segment has really led this growth, and which is going to be the segment that will lead the growth down the line?
First of all, good morning and thank you for inviting me on the show. If you look at overall for the full year, the pharma market met 2023 March grew at around 8%, where the acute part of the business contributes around 60% to pharma market, which grew at around 6%, and chronic part of the business, which is 40% of total Indian pharma market, grew at around 11%. But if you particularly talk about quarter 4, that is Jan to March, the Indian pharma market grew at around 15%, and both acute and chronic part of the business showed a robust growth of 15%. This was backed up by a good flu season. Overall viral infections were there, and also once in 3 to 4 years, what we see conjunctivitis, that also we could see in last 2-3 months of the quarter 4.
Now, it may sound unfortunate, which is that we had a good flu season, which is bad for people but good for pharma companies. But I just want to understand that, is there a huge turn which has happened in the domestic pharma non-COVID business? The numbers are very difficult to compare if I put in the COVID portfolio, the COVID factor. But is there a turn in the non-COVID portfolio in last 6 months for Indian pharma companies?
Nikunj, if you look at last 3 months, the volumes for non-COVID business has come back. And when I was talking about overall the performance of quarter 4 for Indian pharma market, the chronic business, which grew for 11% for the full year, grew at 15%. So overall, when we look at India as a market, the burden of disease, whether we talk of cardiometabolic, we talk of lung disease, we talk of neurology, urology, I think overall the awareness post-COVID in terms of the consumer, better adherence to medication, better point of care diagnosis, I think that is playing a major role, and that is going to be a long stand overall, which overall helps the consumer in living a good quality life.
Why is there a growth? Why has 11% become 15%? Is this because of price hike? So because there is a price hike, pharma companies have taken a hike. So this is good in terms of percentage, but this is not great in terms of absolute impact.
No, the price hike will come in from April. I'm talking of Jan to March. I'm not talking of April, that is the WPI price hike, which comes from effective April. And many of the companies have stocks which are there in the market. So effectively the price hike is from May or June. But if you're talking of pricing, I think overall, if you look at the inflation which we have seen in the RMPM cost, which right now is peaked, and with China opening up, if the pricing are not peaking, and overall, if we are able to get a good price hike, which many of the companies will take, I think it will be a mix of volume and price growth, which will overall help the pharma companies. And we all companies in India are responsible for better health of the consumers, better quality medicine. That is what I can say on behalf of all the pharma companies.
Where does the whole interplay of insurance, better prescription, moving towards a branded pharma, where is that at play? And do you see this 15-16% growth rate sustainable for next 2-3 years now?
If you ask me, I see the growth ranging from 8 to 12%. That is my hypothesis. If you see a good viral season, where infections are there you see acute business spurting up. But chronic will continue to grow at around 12-14%. That is how it will happen. You're talking about the insurance play, still, Nikunj, 70% of the India is rural India, where people are spending out of pocket. And there, I think, overall, over-the-counter medicine, educating the pharmacist, looking at overall the branded business which is happening in those markets where many of the pharma companies are also not reaching, I think it's a long way to go. 90% of payout in India is out of pocket. Hardly 6-7% is what is insurance dominated today, as I see what has been happening in the market.
Right.
The other thing I also wanted to talk about is what happens to your focus on expanding in tier 1 cities, in metro cities? How is it that you're strategically, planning to gain market share from here on?
You're talking about JB?
Yes.
So we today have 2,000 plus medical reps working in the country, and now we are present pan India. So we are not in that stage where we want to expand. We have a good presence across the country, and we cover around 400,000 doctors across the country. Overall, if you look at the geography mix, the way JB today is placed, 40% of our business comes from UP, Bihar, Bengal, Kerala. Metro and tier 1 town in last 1 year, we are trying to focus and bring in some specialty focus in cardiology, in pediatrics, in nephrology, in respiratory. That is what we are trying to do. And we see huge scope in terms of 2,000 people covering 400,000 doctors, and enough scope that we have in terms of what we can do in metro and tier 1 part of the country. And we have started focusing in a small way, not in a big way as compared to many other pharma companies in the world of hospital business also.
So if I have to summarize FY24 versus the quarter what we've seen, markets got mighty excited that the pharma revival in the domestic pharma market was real. But you are of the view that what we saw for the quarter gone by was a passing phase, largely because of the flu season, largely because of weather change patterns which happened in the month of Feb, and a mid-teen growth will not sustain.
It may sustain depending upon what you see. You are seeing extremes of temperature. You are seeing some parts of the country having rainfall. You may see once again resurgence of viral infections. It all will depend upon how the acute part of the business fares. What I'm trying to talk to you is the way I see it is in terms of overall, the way now many of the products are getting off patent, and particularly in the chronic part of the business, where quality medicines are now available at affordable price, and point of care diagnosis is improving in India. It is all better for the consumer, for the patients, in terms of how better diagnosis can happen, how tomorrow at least patient can lead a good life, good quality life in terms of when they're suffering from chronic ailment. And if there is resurgence of acute viral season, which you saw in Jan, Feb, and it continues to happen in March, in next 3-4 months, you can easily see mid-teen growth.
So much for joining in and sharing with us the outlook on JB Pharma and even giving us an overall view of the sector.